Stanislav Futera. This is Jiri's first ever MMA fight, being only 20 years old at the time. The opponent goes straight for the takedown. He landed in a comfortable half guard and wants to take his back from there. And I almost forgot, this is an amateur fight. Luckily, Jiri was born exciting. He said "F your wrestling" and left hooked him.
Stačil jeden povedený hák a Procházka vítězí KO po minutě a 15 sekundách.
If you are new to Jiri Prochazka, he has 35 fights and all of them ended with a finish. Except for one. It went to decision, but you will know why. Vladimir Eyes. As we go through more fights, you will slowly convince yourself that Jiri will be your most favorite fighter of all time. These are so amateur, this is the full fight here.
Eyes se začal systematicky být a okopávat. A nakonec jeden z jeho kopů kolenem našel Eyesovu skloněnou hlavu a ten šel k zemi. Procházka tak zvítězil KO v prvním kole.
I'm not gonna lie, Jiri looks so young here. He looks like a hooligan. For some small Jiri lore, he was actually a hooligan in his younger years. It was the martial arts culture he adopted that made him progress into the samurai idol he is today. Martin Vanis. We can actually dive deeper into this fight because it lasts more than 50 seconds, but it also doesn't last longer than a round. Jiri's style has always been somewhat unconventional, but it's nothing crazy yet. You can chuck it in the air an amateur trying things out and having god genetics. And only after that, he will refine a textbook MMA fighting style. Jiri feints a lot and lands a good leg shot. After that, he managed to pull out his opponent. Jiri came in rushing now with a combination that nearly ends the fight. They clinch and it goes to the ground, leaving Jiri the dominant fighter. Jiri goes from side control to full mount, smooth like butter for some reason, and works from there. He denies the opponent from doing anything by pressuring his hips to pin him down. It's sounding really gay and erotic, but YouTube community guidelines control? I swear this is a sport. They get up and Jiri does a beautiful head teep and then does this. YouTube, I swear this is a sport. And Jiri finishes the fight with a clean advancing straight. Strahinja Denik. Jiri comes in again with his absolutely weird style. I think it works though because he's all fluid and slow with his stance and then darts into a sharp leg kick. What an exchange. I don't even know how to explain that. The opponent does well there and lands a strong combination. But in the middle of it, you can just see it slowed down. Jiri clips him with the hook and he wobbles from there. Jiri knows it's the light heavyweight division, so any strike will feel like bricks, so he just throws, kicks and punches however. But it goes to the ground and it looks like Jiri is losing the battle. And when the opponent got comfortable, Jiri reverses the position. And no one will believe me that this is how he finishes the fight. He shoots for a no-leg takedown from a clinch and gets the submission win. He won by a triangle choke. I literally don't know how to explain that without visual proof. Jiri is just another animal. Bojan Velikovic. The only footage that was recorded of the fight was this highlight video. It's only a few moments, so I'll just let you guys enjoy its entirety like this. Yeah, sadly, Jiri lost this fight via TKO. We can't see the full fight to understand the full context, but it really looked like he couldn't defend himself on the ground. I can't imagine him being rocked and then being finished with ground and pound, so I'm just assuming he got outplayed the whole time by wrestling. Also, at the end, Jiri emoted like he was robbed. No, what is there to complain about? You literally died. Joseph Zak. Sadly, there is no footage of this fight. The only other information that is available is that it was a TKO win for Jiri that ended in the first round. That's our Jiri. He would rather die than make a boring fight. Radovan Istosin. Jiri comes in looking extra jacked now. He is about 1 year into his professional MMA career and it looks like he's improved a lot. The opponent rushes in straight away with a 1-2-3, but it doesn't connect. Jiri lands a lead high kick moving back and bounces back with a body knee. It's like God made Jiri allergic to boring fights. Jiri does well fighting backwards and lands a perfectly timed knee. That's 6-1 for our future champion. Abdulkarim Idilov. This is Jiri's first ever fight in Russia and he fights a Russian dude. So you know where I'm leading with this. Jiri comes in checking a leg kick and does a lead high kick. I think he likes it now because of how good it was the last fight. Abdul just came in no breaks into a full takedown. Abdul just dominates Jiri on the ground. He's always in a dominant position and Jiri wants to scramble or transition to something better to work with, but Abdul just changes as well to a more favorable position. Jiri gets taken down again, and this time the Sambo fighter finishes it with a rear naked choke. I respect Jiri, it is in his character to not tap, but his hands were also kind of pinned on the ground, so maybe he couldn't even tap. Sad day for our boy regardless, with a record now of 6-2. Also, even more sad, Abdul passed away a couple of years ago. There is a whole iceberg of speculation of what happened to him, and all sorts of politics are involved. I'll just leave it to the comment section or your own research to explore this topic. Not really something YouTube content friendly. But back to our beloved human cockfighting, Oliver Doring. Sadly, this is also another fight no one has footage of. We may have missed something really exciting as well. Jiri wins this fight via TKO in the first round. At this point, I don't even need to say it. Jiri fighting just means crazy fighting TKO win or horrible, devastating loss. Also, Oliver came into this fight undefeated with 6 wins and 0 losses. And Jiri TKO'd this guy so bad, he never fought again. Martin Solk. This was an exciting fight. A lot more is at stake here. This was a fight for the first ever GCF light heavyweight bout. And I'm shocked as well. This fight lasted for 3 rounds. A whole more than 1 minute fight. It's crazy, I know. Fight begins and Jiri looks like he's refined his style. He's actually feinting now and not just dancing over his opponent. Although both is quite intimidating. He does a lead high kick again and a rear high kick, but both gets blocked. This is also when Jiri is getting quite good at switching stances and really starts to put the art in martial arts. It's the creativity he brings into fights when he really doesn't have a distinctive traditional fighting background like sambo or kickboxing. His style is just Jiri. Jiri studies his opponent, realizing he is quite tight, having a somewhat boxer style. He then goes in for a flying knee.
Vidíme, že ten Procházka, ježišmarja.
A nádherný naskočený koleno. A zápětí low kick, ale Schultz to ustál, takže určitě nebylo trefeno.
Jiri doesn't go in for the kill just yet, probably knowing that he might get clipped by a punch if he acts too reckless. The opponent does very well with the boxing. That slip overhand could have knocked Jiri out, but it didn't. Jiri is kind of winning the exchanges. When I say kinda, it feels weird to say it, but it's true. He's obviously doing more damage and doing more volume, but he looks so weird and tired doing it compared to the opponent, so you never know what's gonna happen.
Jirka dobře, to drží na distanc. Šlo si to musí zkracovat, ty brdo.
Teď se krásně potopil, pojď tu.
Yep, the opponent adjusted to Jiri's attack and got him quite good. The few times the opponent hits, it's very good, but is it enough to say he's winning though? It's a long fight, so I'll let you enjoy these few exchanges here.
Znovu dobrá puška. Otočka a po ní šot přebírá.
Jesus Christ. This is a war and it's only the 10th fight of the video.
Zatím asi nejlepší.
Stojí.
Přesně tak, stojí. Zájemný útok, do kterého oba dva propadli opět. Hajky, po který se šot ponořil. Naskočené koleno a zápětí tvrdá na bradu Procházkovi a tady teď přichází jeho dobrá kombinace, ještě koleno a ještě high kick, ale šot stále stojí, když se zdá, že...
Oh my goodness. Into the third round, Jiri looks exhausted. And also knowing Jiri, he might just be faking it for the mind games.
Hodně tvrdý low kick, tohle už Jiřímu rozhodně nechutná. Sice ji vrátil, ale znovu se mu šoc prošel po bradě. A naskočené koleno, další 2 údery na zemi a je konec.
I don't even know what to say to that. I want to dissect and explain this, but what was that? When you are on the edge of collapsing from exhaustion, remember to flying knee, boys. Jiri can make a way for a local town's MMA scene to have pay-per-views. I would have paid the fuck out of this. Viktor Bogutsky. Jiri now fights as a champion, but this bout doesn't technically count as a defense fight. I'm not sure why, but who's really out here complaining about a free Jiri fight? He comes in feinting and gets the opponent good with a jab high kick. You can see slowly how he evolves as a fighter, and he's still only 21 here. The opponent still does well in the stand-up, landing this beautiful combo. Jiri actually does very well with his feints and his extremely unconventional head movement. It's still weird looking at this guy fight, and he's literally a champion right now. After a while, Jiri gets the clinch and unleashes his signature move. Yes, the no-leg takedown, where the opponent needs to accept the full guard. Either that or he's paralyzed for life. He grapples aggressively and pins the opponent down for a rear naked choke. His first submission win.
Tu situaci prodloužil a teď protnul svého soupeře a gluk.
And the honorable bow after the fight. You cannot hate this guy. He was bowing and stuff before he went to compete in Japan. That's how high-leveled his samurai-ness is. Thomas Pens. Jiri then has the opportunity to really defend his bout against Thomas. No, you are not seeing things from the tail of the tape. That is Jiri. The fight starts off normal and the occasional teep there. And just 10 seconds in, Jiri unleashes a 1-2 high kick Whitaker special.
Pokusit se o takedown.
And ends it in Jiri fashion.
Pen zkusil nastoupit do takedownu, ale naskočené koleno ze zadní a tvrdé údery. Ten zatím má tu obranu poměrně slušnou, ale v tuhle chvíli odklepá.
That was a little bit unnecessary though. Bro had to tap from the ground and pound. I have no idea what the ref was looking at. But regardless, Jiri the champion defends his bout. 10-2. Darko Stoshik. Jiri, now a staggering, mature, 22 years old now, fights again against an undefeated contender. Darko, with a record of 4-0, comes in first with pressure but is a lot slower. Jiri notices this and does what he does best. It was a good try though, but in no way this discouraged Jiri. He just keeps swinging until the knockdown and finished it via TKO.
Fantastický zvedák. A naopak Stošič je teď pod velkým tlakem a Procházka zkouší zápas ukončit.
Was there technique behind this? Who cares? This is deep Europe. I'm pretty sure everyone wanted a refund if someone didn't die that night. Mikhail Mokatkin. I'm very sorry to say this, but this is Jiri's first ever boring fight. Don't click off, please. I know. This fight ended with a decision because it actually went the whole distance. And to be fair, it's not Jiri's fault. The opponent was an outboxer, always in the back foot, trying to slowly accumulate winning the exchanges. I am 4 times speeding this shit and nothing is still happening. Of course stuff happens in the fight, but nothing significant and nothing all out. Yiri does look like he's putting more out there and sub attempts and wanting to get up and strike sometimes. But his style makes him look more exhausted than he really is, so there's that. It ends with a majority draw and everyone came out unsatisfied. I'm sad too, don't worry. At least it's not a robbery split decision loss for Jiri at least. Procházka. Jiri comes into this fight a lot more patient, a full minute of reading feints and distance. You might actually think Jiri took a few notes in traditional fighting, but he psychs us out all with a flying knee and head kick.
Šole zatím dělá. A tady první pokus o ten...
Never change, bro. After a bit, Jiri denies a takedown and sprints into this high kick.
Tady naskočené koleno, které úplně nevyšlo. Stramba...
Now that's a satisfying kick. The opponent does well to survive, but you know this is the beginning of the end. Jiri just keeps on winning the exchanges and finishes off the round dominating the ground too. Procházka's team threw in the towel, or he couldn't continue the fight, thus ending it with a TKO retirement win. That was a smart choice. Procházka. Jiri starts this fight out pretty well. He plays the low kicking game for a bit, and just a few kicks in, Jiri times an oblique kick really well. After that, the punches start coming in. The opponent knows his leg is messed up now. He wants to just end it quick. Jiri comes in for a combination, thinking to end the fight, but the opponent catches the knee and goes for a takedown. They play on the ground, but nothing significant happens. Jiri gets up and rocks Michael, getting ready for the TKO win. The TKO win. And he's up, but not in fighting condition. I have no idea what the ref is doing. That is actually insane. It actually went the full 5 minutes and the first round is done. Unfortunately, Michael couldn't fight any longer and it ended with another TKO in the corner. Evgeny Kontratov. This is Jiri's last fight before he goes professional, and he wants to go out with a bang. It's a normal pattern for the other fighters now where they just don't know what to do in front of Jiri. He's so weird that the opponent just waits and see if there's any obvious openings. So they end up being not confident and make mistakes like this. Evgeny goes for a spinning back fist of doom, but of course it never works, and basically tries to find another crazy move that outwits Jiri. And then out of nowhere, Jiri flash KOs him with a straight punch just like that. Not a TKO this time, he is knocked out cold. Satoshi Ishii. Welcome to Ryzen, aka UFC's worst enemy. Downed knees are legal, so American freestyle wrestling experts are cooked, and they probably have a different drug standard. So yes, Jiri was the UFC's most USADA tested fighter at one point. And also, elbows to the head are illegal. So, where do you elbow then? Fight starts and Jiri's beard and bold look has finished downloading. Or maybe it's just me staring at it for a long time. A patient Jiri is more deadly when you think about it. But I'm sure it's just the fight rules where the round lasts for 10 minutes, so they are actually just pacing themselves. But that is also what Jiri wants you to think. Just 1 minute later, Jiri rushes in with hooks and ranges back for a sloppy head kick. It was still enough to knock him down, and Jiri finishes it with grounded knees. Yes, I know, UFC fans feel like they are in another sport right now. Our Ryzen debut winner, Jiri Prochazka. Also, I'm still not sure about the elbow rule. They probably don't want deep cuts on the fighters because it is a tournament, so they will fight literally the next day, but they allowed grounded knees. So, that's confusing. Vadim Nemkov. And if you guys are still confused on how to pronounce Jiri's name, it counts as a mispronunciation if you don't scream it. And in the Japanese text there, it literally translates to Czech KO Giant. Well, they're not wrong. Fighting 4-0 undefeated Vadim, it should be a competitive fight. Jiri does okay at the start. The opponent is very refined and efficient and not really biting on Jiri's weird baits. Jiri does well with the teep and switch low kick there. They play footsies for a bit and then the Czech KO Giant comes out. It was a knockdown though, but damn. Not even flush or a great shot. The straight sent him to Wrestle City. This is Jiri's first ever showcase of submission defense. And it's good. Really impressive actually, surviving a 4-0 Sambo fighter like that. Now let's take a look at Jiri's submission offense on an expert fighter. I mean, technically he fumbled, but I'm not gonna lie. That's probably the most technical Jiri's been for a solid 1 minute in his life. They get up, but Jiri's doing the tired stance again. I think he is tired though. It's been 4 minutes and traditionally the fight should have ended, but they keep pushing. Jiri is getting sloppy absorbing these hits, but Jiri hits this beautiful reversal. Yeah, the crowd cheers because how the fuck do you sprawl to full mount like that? And then the beautiful wait for the rear naked choke. Sadly, it doesn't work that easily and they get up. Oh yeah, and a soccer kick real quick. Can't really blame Peter Yan too much if only the UFC doesn't do it. Jiri is getting too sloppy now. Getting hit and taken down. The opponent is spamming submissions and Jiri is somehow getting away from all of them. Jiri tries to axe kick and dude literally kicked his ass there. It might not be illegal in Ryzen, but my god, it didn't have consent. They end out the round Max Holloway style where they want to brawl it out. It didn't turn out like UFC 300, but it did end though. TKO by corner stoppage. Vadim just couldn't get back up. Like, not get back up to fight. Like, he can't get up at all. He's done. That's what a 10-minute MMA round does to you. Jiri, the winner, with 16 wins now. Muhammad Lawal. Jiri comes in fighting King Mo and he is OG. True MMA experience, you can just tell with his legal shoes. Jiri comes in extremely confident, landing a number of high and low shots. Jiri showcases a bit of his wrestling prowess to scare Jiri doing some weird stuff, and also benefits extremely well from that because Jiri will get unnecessarily tired. Jiri gets hurt from the ground and pound and uses all of his power to get back up. Sadly, in saying that, he used up all of his power. Extremely tired Jiri just comes in chin up looking too reckless. Tragic KO loss sadly. To be fair, walking like this with pressure always seemed to work for Jiri until now, so I can't blame him. But after this, Jiri will learn from this brutal KO in the future. And it makes it sadder because this was a heavyweight tournament finals fight. Kazuyuki Fujita. Jiri then fights Fujita, who is actually going through a bad losing streak right now. Actually worse than that. His recent loss was to Overeem, or should I say Ubereem at the time. Lost by a brutal knee and was in a coma after that. So yeah. That same guy is now fighting Jiri Prochazka, so let's see how well he goes. They both play it slow for the first 2 minutes with just small exchanges, not really going for damage. And just like that, there's Fujita's game plan. Went for a single leg and wants to wrestle with Jiri. Didn't work, so he does it again. Ducked under that clean question mark kick. They get up again and Jiri masters his own feinting style. It doesn't even look fast or powerful, but it made him out cold. He was out mid-fall, and after that, they both show great sportsmanship even though Fujita might go into another coma again. Jiri has been in Japan for a while, but it feels like he belongs there. Even the Japanese matchmakers are surprised, saying Jiri is more Japanese than Japanese people. Mark Tanios. This may be the worst fight of all time. It's a Jiri Prochazka fight, but it ends in a unanimous decision. Yes, dislike the video, I know you want to. Fight starts and they are doing some really good leg kicks at the start. The opposite of an explosive fight. Some stance switching and high kicks. Jiri is testing the stand-up IQ of his opponent. Oh, and that opponent's low kick when Jiri was advancing. That was too clean. Jiri's leaning in style does have its cons where you are just prone to low kicks. Jiri's countermeasure is that he probably just finds a way to kill his opponent before his leg breaks. Jiri's leg is still wobbly after that one leg kick after 2 minutes straight, and got a lucky eye poke in. It was accidental, but man did that give him time to recover. The moment the eye poke timeout finished, Jiri went in for the kill. He did a straight to cover distance and then a switch stance 1-2. Didn't kill him, but it was enough to intimidate Mark. Round 1 ends and it's not looking too good. If he gets hurt too much on that left leg, it might be over. Round 2 starts and Jiri goes creative mode, just flying knee despite a broken ACL. Jiri does well with his damaged body and putting in more volume, which is odd because I'm not sure why the opponent is so conservative in output. The whole fight ends with Jiri doing more damage. Sadly, his leg is probably what made him not have enough power to TKO Mark, but good enough. Unanimous decision win for Jiri. He was meant to continue this tournament into the next matchup, but suffered a knee injury. So yeah, that one leg kick actually did that. So sadly, he had to pull out of the tournament. Willian Roberto Alves. To be fair on Jiri, this fight is actually his light heavyweight return. Until now, he was participating in openweight and heavyweight fights in Ryzen. So he makes a tiny side quest back to Czech Republic for a fight. I think we are seeing an even more evolved Jiri. The experience of heavyweight and openweight finally made him a better fighter. Fight begins and you can hear the crowd cheering Denisa. That is Jiri's fighter name. Tiny backstory on Denisa. Another fighter in his gym is called Denisa. She is just chilling and the trainer calls out to her. And Jiri responds instead, thinking the trainer was calling out to him. And since then, the gym has given him shit by calling him Denisa. And Jiri just goes along with it and makes it his fighter name. Jiri is probably so innocent he didn't see the joke and thought the trainer gave him Denisa as a fighter name. Back to the fight, Jiri gets clipped from the opponent but tanks it good.
Na první dobrou. Oh.
No, ta kombinace přišla, ale teď by Jirka měl udělat krok zpátky, protože teď dostal 2 čistý brady.
A ukázalo teda, že Bradu
má Jirka tvrdou.
To teda teď ukázal dvakrát úplně 100%.
I'm not sure why he was shaking his head. You're not fooling anyone.
Teď to trefil krásně, prodlouženou.
Tvrdá dobíječka, Jiří Denisa Procházka.
And the fight isn't actually done yet. I forgot this is deep Europe.
Teď měl Jirka spíš kopat takzvaný.
A Jirka by se neměl nechat svazovat. Přímky, využívat.
Tvrdá brada, Cowboy, tvrdý bojovník.
Jo, oba dva.
Viděl nádherný únik Jirky Procházky. A Cowboy už na automat. Tvrdý brad. Tvrdá doběna, konec zápasu.
And look at how juiced up Jiri is. You can't deny that was Pride/Ryzen regulations still in his body. Carl at Berkson. Jiri comes back to Ryzen to finally compete for the light heavyweight division. Jiri looks more fluid in his idle stance and feints a lot better. Definitely night and day compared to his early fights. The only thing he needs to work on and should now is his defense. I know he gets stronger as he fights and he's like a bomb, but sometimes you can go without taking that much damage. You can see he can finish fights with ease where you don't need to sustain that much damage. It doesn't need to be a war. Or maybe I'm wrong. This is some secret code to win MMA fights. The opponent is a lot more jumpy and faster than Jiri, but also likes to wrestle too. He makes the fight on the ground for about 80% of the round, and Jiri finds a way to get up. The opponent does well, slowly creeping from full guard to half guard, then unleashing some crazy ground and pound, ultimately seeking the arm triangle choke. After a few seconds, looking like Jiri was about to tap out, he gets a samurai epiphany and just stands up. Yeah, fuck your ground game and TKOs Carl like it was nothing. Yeah, the time gap of surviving a choke and standing TKOing your opponent was just a span of 30 seconds. I've been talking about this guy for an hour and I still have no idea who he is. Bruno Capellosa. That was Jiri's debut light heavyweight fight, so now he comes in for his second. I think I know the reason why Jiri won this fight. At the start, a tiny girl said Gambare Prochazka, meaning you can do it, Jiri. I'm just gonna completely ignore why a female child is watching an MMA fight live, but that's okay. Because those words awaken the anime dad trope inside Jiri where he is unstoppable. But first, Jiri got hurt real bad by a leg kick and then nearly dropped by a jab. Yeah, we forget jabs are very strong. Once he saw the enemy stole his signature flying knee move, you know he's had enough. Jiri comes in with his own punch and drops Bruno. After that, Bruno is too wobbled and gets KO'd by ground and pound. Yeah, not TKO, I said KO. Jake Hyun. Jiri comes in with the biggest mistake of his life, shaving his beard. It doesn't look too bad honestly, but you know the number of memes being made just from this fight. Ironically, having no chin literally has one of the best chins in the light heavyweight division. Fight starts and Jake tanks a few shots and pushes Jiri to the fence. They do nothing for a while and then the ref pulls them off. It's an injustice for another decision fight for Jiri. Even the ref knows. Jake is throwing really strong lead high kicks to assert range dominance. So Jiri is taking his time to really push through into the pocket only when the time is right. So yeah, the first few minutes, Jiri is technically losing the fight. Jake fails a spinning elbow and falls down. Jiri takes advantage of this and works from there. They get up and Jiri shows his opponent how to really gauge distance. That was clean. So clean, I'm not even sure if that was intentional or not. Brandon Halsey. Just looking at the intro, Jiri looks so young. Actually, I keep forgetting he is young. This is his 28th pro fight and he's only 26. Just for perspective, Topuria said he's well retired before he makes a 28th professional MMA fight. The fight starts and we are fighting a full-on American wrestler. He shoots straight away and wants the fight in his own domain for the whole time. The opponent does really good being in dominant positions. He nearly had a crucifix and even attempted a submission early into the fight. And straight after, he attempts a back mount and fails. Jiri was mad as hell. He needed to get some shots in just to relieve some stress. Well, this is weird. People in the comments have been saying Brandon uses the out of bounds as a scapegoat to run away. It kind of works, because Jiri couldn't have a chance to TKO him, and him falling was just a timeout. Okay, nah, even Jiri knew he was acting. Dishonorable indeed. People like combat sports from traditional sports because it's a breath of fresh air. Sometimes players benefit if they act like something hurt a lot more than it did. But in MMA, you're just a bitch. And this guy here is a bitch. Or clumsy. Nah, Jiri, just knock this guy out, please. Get it over and done with. He gets out and knocks Brandon out with punches. My goodness, that was satisfying. A knockout and out cold in the opponent's domain. Muhammad Lawal 2. For his honor, this is the redemption arc for Jiri. He rematches King Mo and the stakes are just as high. It's for the first ever Ryzen light heavyweight bout. They both come in a lot more careful, especially Jiri because of the KO loss. About nearly 4 minutes of pacing around, Mo lands a good leg kick. Jiri resets well and ends off the round with a small brawl. That was the whole round. You really didn't miss anything. Smart Jiri is a lot more scarier. Round 2 starts and the pace is somewhat still the same. It speeds up a bit with Jiri getting more comfortable and attacking more, but Mo landed 2 good punches that cut Jiri's eyebrow. So it's looking quite even. Actually, my bad for scoring Jiri fights. It's a bad idea. There's no predictability in this shit. Third round is about to begin and oh my goodness, is that a woman? We have not seen those in a while. I forgot they existed. Yes, I also hate the fact that this lady is probably one of the most replayed moments in this video. Jiri comes into the last round with so much cardio. He just blitz into his movements and punches. I don't know how he trains, but a normal human body isn't supposed to get faster in the last round. Mo is slowing down at the same rate Jiri is speeding up. Now every exchange Jiri is landing something clean. Jiri's style and feinting game finally paid off where he actually gets a rock in and finishes the fight. Mo just doesn't know where to block anymore because Jiri was hitting everywhere and finally fell down. Jiri got his revenge. And he's the new light heavyweight champion. Also, here is future footage of King Mo praising Jiri. This is like the next level sportsmanship and the good side of the MMA community. Everything he says is important now that I rewatched this many times, and I'll try to make it look better with some B-roll.
I honestly think that Jiri, a healthy Jiri was going to be the style to beat John Jones. People, look, I think John Jones is a great fighter and probably one of the best of all time, but in order to beat someone that technical, you have to get in his ass. You have to fight him like it's a 3-minute tough man bout. And Jiri fights at a high pace. He's reckless. He's not gonna try to out technique you, he's just gonna try to beat you. He's gonna try to go out there and knock you out, try to stop you. And I think that's the style that would give John Jones problems. I'm not saying he's gonna win, but that's the style that John Jones at 205 would have issues with. In the tournament, because I was like, who is this guy from Sheffield? Man, this bum. I'm like, I'm going to fuck this kid up. And then I'm watching, I'm like, oh, god damn, he's kind of savage. I'm like, let me see what's between him and this Russian, because the Russian Nemkov is fucking good. So I'm like, let me watch this fight. And I'm watching this pace that was set was so fucking high. At the end of the first round, Nemkov faints. And they called the fight. And I'm like, oh my god, this guy.
Just from exhaustion?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
10 minutes, because so don't forget, the first round 10 minutes. That's why you see Jiri come out guns a-blazing versus everybody. You know, in the UFC, you know, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Well, Jiri's used to 10, 5, 5, whatever, but just
Wow.
and you see what he did when he made his debut in the UFC. Just he was confident, had his hands down, lowered his hand before he threw his punch. This kid, like, I remember when I knocked him out, I was like, stay down, because like when I knocked him out, I hit him everything I fucking had. He ran into my fucking right hand, and when he crumbled, I saw him. You can go back watch the video. He was still trying to get up.
Wow.
He was like this.
That way.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I don't want to see this kid again. I'm thinking to myself, I do not want to fight this kid again. I'm like, because he's something else.
Sure.
So I'm continuing to watch him. Like after I beat him, he goes on a fucking tear, smashing people. Because the way he is, like he's like a straight samurai. Like he embraced Japanese culture to the fullest. He's all about everything he's doing right now. Is about fighting. It's geared towards him being the best fighter possible. Even like just when you meet him, you talk to him, you realize like, hey, this guy has no life but fighting.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Jiri Prochazka,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, he's special. Like
Fabio Maldonado. Jiri then fights a 39-year-old with that record. So I don't know what the matchmakers were thinking, literally just after Jiri became champion. I'm not gonna lie, 1 minute in and it's a career highlight KO waiting to happen. Jiri does seem to be doing more body jabs and looks a lot more faster now. That last fight with King Mo probably improved himself as a fighter a lot. I respect the opponent though. It's like he knew what was gonna happen and he just needed the paycheck. I won't really count this as a fight, but that would also be disrespectful, so take the L, but you can stand proud. CB Dollaway. This is Jiri's first technical title defense fight, and it is against CB Dollaway. And spoilers, this is Dollaway's last fight, and he retired that day. The fight starts and he does well against Jiri with a solid leg kick. He keeps kicking and Jiri is just tanking it, still applying pressure. He's kicking with his shoes. How is Jiri not lying on the floor right now? Jiri finally caught the leg kick and got him down. But it wasn't too successful though. Jiri then has another game plan which was just to knock him out. Easy money and easy title defense. If a guy kicking with shoes does nothing for Jiri, just how hard does Alex Pereira hit? More on that later. For now, here's some not so famous footage of Jiri's life in Japan as a rising fighter. Apparently, he wasn't really liked when he started and they made this vlog series. At the start, Japanese people thought he was the disgusting European weeb. The vlog series was dedicated to Jiri and apologizing they didn't know he was such a fan of samurai and Japanese culture like that. So yeah, Jiri is more samurai than actual samurais. When's his book coming out? Volkan Özdemir. This is Jiri's long-awaited debut for the UFC. And it's not just me saying that. The UFC wanted this guy for a while. Jiri declined, saying he wasn't ready yet. He's so humble, to the point where it's a little bit scary.
He was actually offered a spot on our UFC roster a couple of years ago, but turned it down. He said he didn't feel like he was ready to compete with the very best in the division.
He said, when I get to the UFC, I want to take over. I want to be the champion.
For Procházka, the winning streak is now 11. Last 9 of them by knockout or TKO. He's just getting started.
I know I will be the champion, but there is just question how to do that, and that's what I want to show all the world.
He fights Vulcan, and this shows a lot about Jiri's fight style now. It contrasts a lot more knowing that this is a fully Western organization. Sadly, I did get copyrighted in my Taporia video 1 week after it was uploaded. It was mostly the UFC fight clips, even though it was cropped and all that, so I will try my best to find non-official fighting clips and images as best as possible. I can't describe how fun rewatching this fight was though. Every second there is something to talk about. I'm never going to do it justice in this video, so you just need to watch the fight replay again. Jiri just tanks every hit and does a crazy samurai pose every second. His fighting style is somewhat like swordsmanship and karate. One bad thing though is that he does get hit a lot more than he should. It's his style, but there was still some shots he doesn't need to eat. And here's the KO, of course.
Went for the flying knee. Oh, there it is! Jiri Prochazka!
Well, there you go. He basically jumped into the top 5 in about 1 day. People forget Jiri's run to the bout. It's technically faster than Alex Pereira's. Well, technically yes and no. The amount of fights to get to the bout for Jiri was less, so that's faster, but the time schedule and the actual time gap from UFC debut to champion is faster for Alex. It's just Alex's crazy kickboxing background to fight every month back in the day. Dominic Reyes. Another UFC fight, and sadly, I'm never gonna do it justice. The main points of this fight is that Reyes couldn't do anything. He did do some things, but it was no way a fight he was going to survive. Jiri landed really hard shots where he didn't look the same after the first rock. He got some good groundwork in, but Jiri is also experienced on the ground to nullify any moves, except for that one up kick though. I respect that one at least.
And and the second situation, that was the kick from the background to my head. That was the knockout. That was the knockout, but nobody knows that I was for 1 or 2 seconds out.
Oh.
I was out. I just where is his body to live on him? just to take some 1, 2, 3 seconds to take a breath. Okay, where I am here. Yeah, what now?
Then just a few seconds after Jiri got KO'd, he decided to really KO Reyes. To just spinning KO the third contender like that is definitely a free ticket to a title shot, no matter who else is better than Jiri. He was the most exciting person in the UFC at one point. Glover Teixeira. This was the moment. Title shot Jiri goes for the bout in Singapore. This was the fight of the year. And it's not just a statement made by me. Literally everyone else said that. It was nearly 5 rounds of godness where I don't even know where to begin. Well, to begin, round 1, and Jiri isn't having a good start. He establishes his range at least, but Glover had more going on. He managed to get Jiri down twice, both times being in such a dominant position where he just ground and pounds and also sub attempts. Jiri does well to defend it off and get up. He has more confidence actually, knowing he survived Glover's best. It's only a matter of time before the tables will turn. And I can't forget the iconic north-south position. That's the loudest I heard the crowd roar. Oh yeah, YouTube, yeah, if you're watching this right now, yes, it's still a sport. Yep, I know. Round 2 and the momentum picks up where they are both willing to take some risks. One good highlight in this round is Jiri finally piecing up Glover as he normally does in round 2 of fights. But Glover hits Jiri down and gets a great ground advantage. I don't know if it counts as a knockdown, but Glover definitely flipped the script here. He cut him real bad too, so it's looking like a 2-0 for Glover. After many years, we finally see a third round, and Jiri won this third round. He finally adjusted to Glover's ground game and became the dominant one now. He outstrikes Glover now too. Jiri looks like he sustained a lot of damage the first 2 rounds, so time will tell. I don't know why, but into the 4th round, Glover activated some old man strength and had Jiri running at times. Jiri outstrikes Glover, but then Glover outstrikes Jiri, then Glover nearly submits Jiri, but Jiri escapes and nearly TKOs Glover, but then Glover reverses and nearly TKOs Jiri. This must look and sound so shit because my issue of avoiding copyright, but trust me, this is top tier MMA right now. Now into the final round, these guys are not giving up. Glover is winning by points, I think, but he also knows Jiri is more dangerous as the fight goes and will do anything for a finish. In the first 10 seconds, Glover nearly knocks out Jiri with a clean 1-1-2 and tries to guillotine from there. Big mistake. He's too sweaty and sloppy to lock it in good, and Jiri survives. Jiri does well surviving the ground game, but he's not proactive in the stand-up game now. The only thing that's keeping him alive is his samurai level chin. And it makes it so much more crazy how he nearly done nothing in the final round to outplaying everything done in the whole fight, just like that in a few moments. He gets a more dominant position, and just like that, he swoops into a rear naked choke. He saved all of his energy in that round for one spike of effort, and it paid off. And from the scorecards, it looked like it was going to be a unanimous decision win for Glover, but he didn't survive the last 30 seconds of a total 25-minute fight. You gotta also respect and feel for the man too. Don't worry though, the next fight is basically a Glover assist. After a horrible shoulder injury, Jiri had to take nearly 2 years off competing and vacated the bout.
Hello everyone. Thank you for your messages. Thank you for your messages. I have to say sorry to Glover. I canceled that fight too so short to fight. That's life. So, congratulations to Ankalaev and Blachowicz for a title chance. But still, I feel like a champion. And after I will be back, I will come for that title and more, because my targets are higher than just a title. I'll be back. Thank you. Thank you for your messages. Mastery, victory.
It was an honorable thing to do compared to other fighters, and he did the right thing. During that time, a lot has happened, such as a Jan and Ankalaev draw, a Jamal Hill and Glover fight to make up for the draw, and the grand entrance of Alex Pereira joining the division. So just in time Jiri recovered, he can go for the undisputed bout he never lost and fight Glover's student Alex Pereira. I'm sorry this will sound cheap, but I have already covered this fight in my Alex Pereira video, so I will punch in more context and editing where it's needed, but most of this will be spliced from that video. I'm sorry, please don't unsubscribe. I love you. Jiri never lost his light heavyweight bout. He vacated it. And after that, Jamal Hill won the vacant bout, but vacated that. So Alex and Jiri fight for the definitive, non-vacated light heavyweight bout. This was a very hype fight. Both having extremely good resumes, where Alex was a kickboxing champion before the UFC, and Jiri was an MMA champion before the UFC. So don't take these fighters lightly. Alex sleeps his opponent, and Jiri only had one fight in his career that ended in decision. So you know this fight is not going to be boring. It's funny looking back that the most iconic thing about this fight was the face-off. The fight begins, and stylistically, this is not a good matchup. Good for us, but not good for Jiri. Jiri gets stronger as he fights, but that has a big con. There's only so much a human body can physically take. Jiri's style is extremely unconventional, where he leans in a lot more than he should to spring into something. But it doesn't really work when you have a guy who can calf kick you to oblivion in a nanosecond. Seeing the difference on the feet was surreal. Jiri is obviously more balanced, so it shouldn't really be said, but still, it makes me appreciate the small yet heavy details the Izzy fight was. Round 2 begins and the same stuff happens. Jiri just can't break his habit. It worked for him for years, but this time he gets punished for it. The only thing that works for Jiri, or I should say, one thing that Alex needs to fix, is his defense. Especially for the right hand. Jiri had something going, and when he leaned in too much, yep, he literally got left hooked up into the air. The winner by TKO is Alex Pereira, and he solidified himself as a true MMA champion. After that fight, Jiri did say he was knocked out despite the early stoppage. That's what he said straight after the TKO. But months later, he did go back on his word, saying it was an early stoppage. So that's kind of weird. Alexander Rakic.
I want to know, can you explain a little bit when you had said that Jiri is not a real samurai, and do you think that bothered him? Because it seemed to give the biggest reaction when he heard you had said that.
Yeah, I said he's a fake samurai because you cannot become a samurai after just reading a book, what his coach gave it to him. And live this spirit, If you are a samurai, you need to live this for a long time and not for the last 2-3 years. So that's why I said he's a samurai, a fake samurai.
You mentioned he's talking a lot. He also said you're a fake samurai. You can't be a samurai just because you read a book your coach gave you. Are you surprised he's coming out with these words?
He said that here?
Yes, he did.
What he said?
He said he doesn't consider you a real samurai. You're a fake samurai. You can't be a real samurai just because your coach gave you a book to read. If you want to be a samurai, it can't just be for the last 2 or 3 years. It needs to be basically a lifetime of that sort of energy.
And what's the question?
I'm curious if you're surprised he's coming out with this sort of pre-fight trash talk, or if this was something you expected from him.
I understand. Alexander, he's talking too much. Like I said, he's talking too much. He don't know me, and he will know me in the cage, who I am, where I am able to go, how through I can go to take a win, and he don't know me personally. If you don't know somebody personally, how you can speak about him something, whatever.
Jiri's first loss after 7 years, and people thought he fell off. Being matched against 2-year recovery Rakic and pointed out as a slight underdog is disgusting. Jiri probably thought the same way and isolated himself for 3 days and detoxed his mind and body. In doing that, the world was reminded that he is at championship level and Alex Pereira is still in the same league as him. I can't go into full detail onto this fight because of how recent it was, but Jiri did come in losing at the start, just not adapting too well with kickboxers and not being able to check leg kicks. Jiri does find his opportunity later into the fight though. He plays with southpaw and just outwits Rakic with his weirdness a bit. It's similar to the Jake Hune fight where he plays with distance a lot, feinting and getting the 1-2 clean on the opponent's chin. Such a simple move, but camouflaged with so much complexity. I think. Jiri pushes him to the ground and wins via TKO. It's almost as if the Pereira loss never happened, and he inspired us all with the post-fight interview.
He talks about me like I'm not samurai. That's true, I'm not a samurai. I'm a guy from Czech Republic, but we all need to live and be inspired by something. And these samurai ideas is something what's inside me. And no matter who will win tonight in the main event, I want to face the champion.
Also, I should mention that his walkout song is In the City by Kevin Rudolph, his original walkout music to his Ryzen days. So you knew straight off the bat he was going to win this fight. That's the last time Rakic is going to call out Jiri for being a fake samurai. He's basically Japanese. He's lived there and won the hearts of the Japanese people. And even the undefeated prospect Rinya Nakamura said he wants him and Jiri to represent Japan for the UFC.
How Japan is good, how my team is good, how I am good. So with Jiri Prochazka over there, I want to spread how Japan is good with him.
I would like to thank everyone who's listening right now. I don't even know how many people made it this far. As an honor of respect to Jiri, and to sum up this whole video, I would like to read out his career accomplishments. He's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer in the future, so this is exactly what's going to be read out when he retires. Muay Thai 2011 Czech National Championships champion. UFC Light Heavyweight Championship, 1-time champion. Fight of the Night 2 times, versus Dominic Reyes and Glover Teixeira. Performance of the Night 3 times, Volkan Oezdemir, Dominic Reyes and Alexander Rakic. 2021 Half-Year Awards, Best Fight of the First Half Year, versus Dominic Reyes. 2022 Fight of the Year, Glover Teixeira. First champion from Czech Republic, Ryzen Fighting Federation. Ryzen Light Heavyweight Championship, former winner. 1 successful title defense. 2015 Ryzen Heavyweight Grand Prix runner-up. To be fair, he had to vacate his position because of the knee injury. Gladiator Fighting Championship. His local MMA scene. GCF Light Heavyweight Championship. The first time ever champion. 1 successful title defense. 2022 Fight of the Year, Glover Teixeira. Another 2022 Fight of the Year, Glover Teixeira. 2021 Mid-Year MMA Awards, Best Finish of the First Half Year, Dominic Reyes Spinning Elbow KO. 2022 Fight of the Year again, Glover Teixeira. 2013 Czech Fight of the Year versus Martin Solk. 2021 May Knockout of the Month, Dominic Reyes. 2022 June Fight of the Month, Glover Teixeira. 2022 Fight of the Year, Glover Teixeira. And again, 2022 Fight of the Year, Glover Teixeira. And again, 2022 Fight of the Year, Glover Teixeira. And again, 2022 Fight of the Year, Glover Teixeira. And again, 2022 Fight of the Year, Glover Teixeira. And again. And finally, 2022 MMA Match of the Year versus Glover Teixeira at UFC 275. There you go.